I'm 73 years old, and last summer I cooled my entire house for a total of $6. Not $6 a day, not $6 a month, $6 for the entire summer. No air conditioning, no fans, no electricity used for cooling at all. My name is Florence Patterson, and I need to tell you how I discovered this method because every summer I watch my neighbors spend hundreds of dollars on electricity while I sit comfortably in my cool house spending almost nothing. This discovery didn't come from some brilliant idea I had. It came from desperation and necessity. 3 years ago, in the summer of 2021, I received an electric bill that made my hands shake. $847 for 1 month. July, the hottest month of the year, and I'd run my air conditioning like I'd always done, keeping my house at 72 degrees while outside it was 95. I'm on a fixed income, Social Security, and a small pension from my 30 years working as a librarian. That electric bill was more than half my monthly income. I sat at my kitchen table staring at that bill, and I realized I had two choices: suffer through the heat or figure out something different. I chose different. And what I discovered was something people did for thousands of years before electricity existed. Methods that worked then and still work now. Methods that cost almost nothing but require you to think differently about cooling. Let me tell you exactly what I did and how you can do it too. The first thing I had to understand was how heat actually works, because most of us are cooling our homes completely wrong. We're fighting heat instead of preventing it, and that's why it costs so much. Heat enters your house 3 ways: through windows when sunlight comes in, through your roof and walls when they absorb heat from outside, and through air exchange when hot outside air comes in and cool inside air goes out. If you can stop heat from entering in the first place, you don't have to spend energy removing it later. I started researching how people kept cool before air conditioning. I looked at old farmhouses, adobe homes in the Southwest, houses in the Mediterranean. I talked to my neighbor, Mr. Chen, who grew up in rural China where they had no electricity. I read about Roman cooling techniques and Victorian methods. What I learned changed everything. People stayed cool for millennia without electricity. They just worked with nature instead of against it. The key is thermal mass, airflow, and stopping heat before it enters. That probably sounds complicated, but it's actually incredibly simple and costs almost nothing to implement. Here's what I did, step by step, and you can do every single one of these things for less than $50 total. Most of them cost nothing at all, except a little bit of physical effort and a willingness to change how you think about your house. The $6 I spent? That was for materials for just one of these methods. Everything else was completely free, using things I already had or nature itself. Method 1, the window protocol. This is the most important thing I do, and it costs nothing. Absolutely nothing. Heat enters your house primarily through windows. Sunlight comes through the glass and heats up everything it touches, and then that heat radiates throughout your house. So I stopped letting sunlight in during the day. Every morning at sunrise, before it gets hot, I close every single curtain, blind, and shade in my house. Every window gets covered completely. My house becomes dark like a cave. I can hear you thinking, but then you're sitting in the dark all day. Yes, exactly. And it's wonderful. My eyes adjusted within 2 days. I use small lamps if I need light for reading. The darkness is cool and peaceful, and my house stays 15 to 20 degrees cooler than outside temperature. At night, when the sun goes down and outside temperature drops, I open everything. Every window, every door. I create cross-ventilation. Cool night air flows through my entire house, flushing out any heat that accumulated during the day. This method alone cut my cooling costs by about 60%, just opening and closing windows at the right times. Method 2, thermal mass. This is where I spent my $6. I bought 6 cheap aluminum roasting pans from the dollar store. I fill them with water and freeze them solid in my chest freezer overnight. During the day, I place these frozen pans in strategic locations around my house. The ice absorbs heat from the air around it. As it melts, it cools the surrounding area significantly. The $6 I spent? That was for materials for just one of these methods. Everything else was completely free, using things I already had or nature itself. Method 3, evaporative cooling. This is ancient technology. When water evaporates, it absorbs heat from its surroundings, creating a cooling effect. People have known this for thousands of years. I hang damp cotton sheets in my doorways and in front of open windows at night. Just regular bed sheets that I wet thoroughly and wring out. As air passes through the damp fabric, it cools by 10 to 15 degrees. The sheets dry overnight, and I re-wet them each evening. I also keep a large shallow pan of water on my back porch, where air enters my house. The evaporation creates a cooler microclimate right at my entry point. This costs nothing. I'm using water I already pay for and sheets I already own. Method 4, strategic airflow. Heat rises. This is basic physics, so I make sure hot air has somewhere to go. I open the highest windows in my house at night, even just a crack. Hot air escapes through the top while cool air enters through lower windows. I also identify the coolest spot on my property. For me, it's the north side of my house where trees create shade. At night, I open the windows on that side first, pulling in the coolest available air. During the day, I close off rooms I'm not using. No point cooling space I'm not occupying. I essentially live in 3 rooms during summer: my bedroom, bathroom, and kitchen. The rest of the house stays closed up. This concentration of cooling in smaller spaces means even minimal cooling efforts have maximum effect. Method 5. Roof management. Heat absorbed by your roof radiates down into your house all day and all night. Your attic can reach 150 degrees in summer, and all that heat eventually comes into your living space. I made a simple change that cost nothing. I started going into my attic at night and opening the small vent windows up there. Hot air trapped in the attic escapes, and cooler night air replaces it. In the morning, I close those vents before the sun heats everything up again. If you have an attic fan, run it only at night, when outside air is cooler than attic air. Running it during the day just pulls hot outside air through your attic. Method 6. Lifestyle adjustments. This is the hardest part for most people, but it made the biggest difference for me. I changed my schedule to match the temperature. I wake up at 5:30 a.m. when it's cool. I do any cooking, laundry, or active tasks before 10 a.m. Between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., the hottest part of the day, I read nap, do quiet activities. I don't use the oven or stove at all during summer days. I eat salads, sandwiches, and cold meals, or I cook after sunset. I also dress appropriately. Light, loose cotton clothing. I keep a damp washcloth in the refrigerator and drape it on my neck when I need quick cooling. These adjustments cost nothing and work with nature's rhythm instead of fighting it. Last summer, using all 6 of these methods, my electric bill averaged $42 a month. The summer before I started this, it averaged $230 a month. I saved over $550 across 3 months. The $6 I spent was for those aluminum pans that I've now used for 3 summers. Everything else cost nothing but a change in habits and thinking. My house stays between 75 and 80 degrees during the day in summer, even when it's 95 outside. At night, it drops to 68 to 70 degrees. Is that as cold as 68 degrees from air conditioning? No, but it's comfortable, and my body adjusted quickly. Here's what I learned that surprised me most. I actually prefer this now. My house doesn't have that artificial stale air conditioning feel. The air feels fresh and natural. I sleep better. I feel more connected to the natural rhythm of day and night, hot and cool. I also learned that comfort is largely psychological. When I was spending $847 a month, I expected to feel comfortable, so any discomfort felt intolerable. Now that I'm spending $6 and expecting to work with nature rather than control it, the same temperature feels fine. I'm 73 years old. I live on fixed income. And I've proven that you don't need expensive technology to stay comfortable in summer. You just need to think differently. My name is Florence Patterson, and I cool my whole house for $6 a summer. If I can do it, I promise you can too.